All right, welcome to another episode of the Ask Swenk Show. This is episode 44. I can't believe it. And today we're going to chat about salespeople and hiring salespeople, managing them. What should we pay them? How do we compensate them? And what makes a good salesperson?
I'm Jason Swenk, and I'm answering your questions. And this is Ask Swenk.
So, and I just want to apologize right off the bat. I'm going to butcher the person's name that asked this. I'm going to try my hardest, but I'm probably not going to get it right. I think it's Simohammed, so hopefully, and I apologize. People always mispronounce my last name. They always like Swenk, but it's Swank, even though it's with the E. But let's go ahead and jump into the episode. All right. So Simohammed, I don't know, sorry. I'm thinking of hiring a sales rep for my agency. I know it's good to make salary based on the rep's performance, but from your experience, do you give them a small salary as a base if there's no performance, or is it always based on performance like project commission or percentages? So we did it in a couple different ways. We would give them a modest salary. So our sales reps, when we had successful ones, were around 45 to 50,000. Now this was maybe 4 years ago, so you probably need to pay them a little bit more because you want to get really good people, and it's going to take people a little bit time in order to get up to speed, right? Because they're not coming in already and they're going to sell right off the bat. Some will, but most cases they're not. So we would do a 45 to 50 base, and then we would do a tiered commission, and it would be over the year. So we would set their kind of quota of what we wanted them to bring in for the year. So let's say the quota we wanted them to bring in was, for this example, $1 million, right, over a year. So then we would say, all right, we're going to pay you 5% commission from 0 to 200,000 in revenue. And then once you get over 200,000 in revenue, right, then it's going to jump up to 7%. And so the 200,000 to maybe 750 would jump up to 7%. And then if you can get over the 750 to the million, it might jump up to 10. If they can get over the million, that's kind of when, you know, the bonus could kind of kick in. Maybe you could do it more. So for example, let's say they sold a $500,000 project right off the bat. So 200,000 would be at 5%, and then the other 300,000 would be at the next tier up. All right? And so that's how we would do it. Now we would also not factor in if you're doing media buying, like let's say you're doing a lot of pass-through cost for media buys like AdWords or Facebook. That does not count, right? It literally has to be professional services of actually work done. But that's how we, you know, confiscated, I can't say that word, but I think you guys know what I mean. This is how I paid our sales reps. And when we were doing that, we were really successful and we were attracting the right ones. All right, next question from the same person. I can't pronounce her name, I apologize. What are other criteria that you look for sales reps besides being a good in communication and a good salesperson? Well, I think that the criteria you want to look at is someone motivated by money. Because, right, the way you set up that tiered structure that we just talked about is you want to incentivize them to be like, look, you can make as much money as you want. And here's the other thing. You have to be ready and psychologically prepare yourself that your sales reps could potentially make more than you. And that would be fine. And you almost should have a goal as that, because look, I'm fully believe in paying yourself well, but don't rape the company, right? For the first couple of years, we raped the company. I mean, any profit in there, we're like, wow, we would just grab it up and eat it up. And then we realized that if we wanted to scale and grow and build this for the long run, we needed to invest back in and use that money. And we paid ourselves a modest salary. We paid ourselves a base salary, no profit sharing or any of that. It didn't count that. Maybe like 150 to 200,000. in salary. But at the time we were doing that, we were probably 1.5, 2 million. So just to give you kind of a baseline. But you know, the other criteria that you look for is I think the most important part is someone that understands the solutions that you deliver and can actually help the prospect before they sign the contract, right? So it kind of goes back to, that's the reason why you're such a good salesperson probably, right? Or all of you watching this, you're like, no one can sell as good as me. The reason being is because you guys are knowledgeable and you actually can provide advice to your prospect. So then they trust you and like you and that kind of stuff. And that's the quality that I look in a salesperson of, can they ask questions? If they can ask questions, like we would have competitions and say, how many questions can you ask in a meeting? Because the cool thing that I always tell people about questions is when you ask a question, it changes the focus to them, which in their eyes, they are the star. Everybody loves talking about themselves. So what we would do is we would ask a ton of questions. And in order for the prospect to tell us everything. And then what we would do is, like the salesperson, I would want them to do is saying, based on everything that they've told you from the answers, then you need to come at them and say, well, based on everything you said, here's what we recommend you do. Not just lay out options, right? You don't want a sales rep to just make 1,000 calls. I'd rather a sales rep make 5 targeted calls a day if they did a ton of research, because they're going to be a lot more effective. So it's not about, I want to have someone banging the phones. It's also, you also got to think about, what kind of sales rep do I want? Do I want a hunter? Do I want a farmer? Our thing that we wanted more of a farmer, because they could provide knowledge, because we created a lead generation system so we could feed them leads, and then they could just farm that out, or they would just farm that all those leads, and then bring us in when it counted. But those are the traits. Money driven, ask a lot of questions, very personable, and very knowledgeable. The knowledge part is crucial. All right, so next question. Is it possible to look for people with an existing network or previous experience in the same field? So here's my take on people with a huge personal network. It's low-hanging fruit, and everybody has a personal network. And so what's going to happen is the sales rep's going to tap into that right off the bat, which is really good, okay? Which is good. But over time, they're going to run out of that personal network, and then it's going to be dry. And what I have found with sales reps that have built big personal networks, they've gotten kind of fat and lazy after that. So what they'll do is they'll tap on it, and they'll get they'll fully exhaust that pipeline. And then what happens, it starts going away, and they don't want to make the calls. They don't want to build the strategic partnerships that's needed to grow. They don't want to do the live workshops or the online workshops in order to really start the momentum and build a new network. So most of the time when they had a big network, I didn't care. I didn't do it. Then what you're talking about with previous experience, I think that's crucial. Now, I'm not saying previous experience in sales. I almost rather hire someone that has previous experience in like account management or project management that really is money driven and really loves meeting with people, chatting with them, and helping them out. That's kind of the experience. Like if you can find that person, that's kind of the holy grail of finding that really personal, knowledgeable project manager or strategist for some other agency that really wants to get into sales. Then they could actually tap into the old resources just a little bit, and then also build the new ones as well. So, and everybody say hello to Midnight. This is my new kitten. So hello, say hello. He's got a little thing on the eyes. And for you guys listening on the podcast, he's a little black kitten. and he's very, very cute. And he's been jumping around. So, but if you're on the video, obviously you can see Midnight. He's my newest employee. And if you check me out on Instagram, go to instagram.com/jswank. You can see a couple pictures of him just sitting behind my chair.
I want you to join the conversation. Make sure you comment and subscribe. Thanks for giving me your most valuable asset, your time.